And welcome to another episode of Patriots 4th and 2. I'm your host, Derek Havens. And joining me as always is Mr. Steve Balestrieri. We are both PatsFans.com bloggers. Today's episode, really exciting. We get Mr. Pat's Cap himself, Miguel Benzan, in the studio with us to talk about some cap stuff, get his thoughts on the offseason. Obviously, I did say Pat's Cap. That is his Twitter name if you want to go ahead and follow him there. Miguel, how you doing today, man?
Doing all right. Getting ready for the weekend.
Yep.
Got a short. Well, got a half day to tomorrow. And then they got working Friday, but getting ready for the weekend. And like everybody else in Boston, I'm just waiting for the Celtics series to start.
I know. We have to wait till the 6th, which is going to feel like a lifetime.
But literally, back in the day when I was young, I understood it. Because the NBA would get lousy ratings, and they wanted, and the ratings, Nielsen was doing all their big key moments in the month of May. But no one was. Why are we waiting? Why are we doing it now in June 6th? Why has to be a set schedule? Come on, people.
And they used to do, and if everyone listening, we'll keep this to 30 more seconds of Celtics talk because Steve hates basketball anyway. So the other thing that's weird is that they used to do, if it was the same city, it would be every other night. Now they're spreading everything out by 3 games. There's only one game in the projected 7. Hopefully it won't go 7, but there's only one game that's 2 days apart. Everything else is 3 days. So like game 6 is not going to be till like June 23rd. So it's gonna go 4 weeks. This whole final.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. All right.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Anyway, all right. Let's do Celtic stuff before Steve falls asleep.
Let's do Patriots stuff.
There's your Goldman for the night.
There's one.
There's one. So I don't know where you want to start off, Steve. We can talk about. The salary cap stuff. I guess we can start with that first. So let's talk about some of these extensions. And I'm not going to press you on like some of the minor kind of details, but some of these extensions they've given seem like they've been pretty team friendly overall.
On a whole, the Patriots got extremely team friendly deals on a whole. Right. I would say the only one people could complain about is Hunter Henry's deal. All right. Yeah. Other than that, every other deal was, I would say, if you're to go from player friendly to team friendly, it's definitely more on the team friendly side. For example, the Christian Barmore deal is incredibly team friendly. All right. Mm-hmm. Kyle Duggar, would be 60-40 team friendly. Hunter Henry's probably 35-65 player friendly. Everybody else, everybody else, except the guy, like Josh Uche is a team friendly deal, but he's on a 1-year deal, so it makes it hard to think. So Josh is probably 20-80. All right, for the team friendly, but that's a 1-year deal. How to put this politely?
You don't have to put it politely if you don't want to.
Okay, so no one in the Boston media has said this. How team friendly the deals are. They've been focusing on how much money they spent and whatever, and they'll say the Patriots haven't spent money. All right. All the while knowing, and I'm going to continue my rant from yesterday, all the while knowing that the Patriots are going to draft someone at number 3 who's going to therefore get a $20 million bonus. All the while knowing that not one incentive counts against the cash spending total now. Mm-hmm. All right. I've been doing this for 2 decades now.
Yep.
And yet I swear the coverage of the salary cap by the media is getting worse. They're now taking it to the level of being I can spin anything to make the Patriots look bad. Mm-hmm. So they go in the beginning of February and March and talk about how the Patriots have little spending, have spent so little. Mm-hmm. As if there's a 3-year time period, and they're talking about this is the 1 year they got to spend money. It's a 3-year time period, and they're focusing.
So I'm glad you're going this way, because I wanted to ask, how does the cap work from year to year? So I don't know where they're going to be projected to be from a number standpoint this offseason. How will it translate to next offseason?
That's a great question, Derek. So, but the cap works year to year. The cash spending is a 3-year requirement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's stick with the cash. All right, teams have from March 13th, 2024, which is the beginning of the 2024 league year, to the beginning of the 27 league year, which is going to be mid-March of 2027. All right, to reach that 90% cash spending requirement for the 3 years. All right, it is incredibly easy for teams to make that mark. If you're going to complain about the lack of spending in 1 year, or say they should spend this for over 90% each year to get to the 90%, that's on you. Teams haven't done that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's the thing I think we should do. Myself and the media should do a better job of explaining, like, this is what's happening in the with the GMs. All right, for example, so the cash spending is over 3 years. The cap is for 1 year, and the cap is basically, not to get the nitty gritty, is basically the difference between your adjusted cap number and your total cap commitments for that year. All right, what is a cap commitment? A cap commitment is the player's cap number. For example, we know that Drake May's cap number is $6.6 million because he just got his deal yesterday. We also know that we have on the books for the Patriots $6.2 million of dead money for Devin McCourty. All right, that $6.2 million is not cash. That was cap paid out to Devin McCourty in previous years, but it counts against the cap. All right, but it's $0 cash. Why? Which is why I hammer, I keep on saying on my Twitter, cap is not cash, and then vice versa. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So that difference is, you total up those numbers, right? And right now, they have 91 players on the roster. Each player has a cap number. The guys who are not in the top 51, their salary doesn't count against the cap. So, for example, Joe Milton, he got a small signing bonus. Only his signing bonus proration for this year counts against the cap right now. If he makes the 53-man roster, then his $795,000 will count against the cap. Right?
Okay.
But then again, let's say he does make the cap, the roster. He's most likely going to bump out somebody who made a higher salary than him, and therefore have space for the Patriots. Okay.
Nice.
Except I shouldn't say that all the time, because if they have they put a lot of players on IR or on PUP, then you're not really saving a lot of money when you have a lower beat out a player, because you have to create those. You have to pay not only the player who's injured and who's on IR, you got to pay as a replacement. So like right now on my books, I'm thinking they're gonna have Cole Strange on PUP at the beginning of week 1, and the more I feel this is a gut feeling. I feel like Kendrick Bourne is gonna be a PUP player. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna have they had to pay 55 salaries instead of 53 salaries at week 1.
Sure.
All right. But right now they're only counting for 51. So that's 795,000 times 4. So you're gonna lose close to $3.2 million in cap space because you have players on because of that. All right.
Okay.
So what at the end of the day, let's talk about, you said multiple years cap.
Mm-hmm.
They end up in unused cap space this year. We rolled over 100%. It doesn't matter the amount. So they could roll over if they end up with $40 million in cap space, all right, or $4 in cap space at the end of this year. All of us are going to get rolled over the next year, all right? So let's pretend the league cap number next year is $275 million, just to keep it round, all right?
Sure.
And the Patriots roll over $25 million. And that gives them an adjusted cap number of $300 million before we include the adjustments and any credits they would get for salary offsets. All right. I know they're going to get a credit for Chris Board. I don't know what's going to happen with Devontae Parker's salary. Do they get a credit this year or do they get credit next year? All right. I don't know. And I don't know what the incentives. So let's just say, for the sake, they have a negative $5 million in adjustments because of the players earn incentives. So their adjusted cap number next year will be $295 million, while the league cap is $275 million. That's a $20 million advantage over the rest of the league. I boom the bet the Patriots right now should have, unless they extend a whole bunch of players between now and then, should be among the leaders in adjusted cap numbers in 2025. All right. And I will be wrong if one or two things happen. They get a lot of injuries like they did last year, or they extend a lot of players. And
what's your next extension that you're expecting? I think for me, I'd probably say Ramondre if they go that route.
I would go Judon, then Stevenson, and then Peppers. All right?
Okay.
And then during the season, depending on how healthy they are, it would be Jelani Tavai and Daniel Egule. All right. Because those two guys, especially when I talk about the cap space, those two guys are playing for low salaries. So if you extend them, especially during the season, the Patriots are not going to lower the salary during the season, right? They'll just give them a signing bonus and increase the cap number. All right. So multiple years. So we got 2024. They're in great cap space right now. They got over $40 million. They're in great cap space. They can do anything they want the rest of this league year. 2025, they should be among the league leaders in adjusted cap number. All right. And right now, if just so happens that David Andrews becomes the 51st player on my tab for the 2025. All right. And because while 3 draft picks haven't been signed, I already know what that 2025 cap number is going to be. All right. So right now, for cap commitments, I have for 2025 $168 million. All right. So you go and that's in cap commitments. All right. So let's say we're using a 295, 168. That's around what? $127 million in cap space right there. All right. And that's before I account for incentives or they tender, like Brendan School is going to be a restricted free agent. All right. Right now he counts $0 against the cap in 2025. Excuse me. And if they tender him, he's going to count at least $2 to $3 million, maybe $4 million. I'm telling you how much the cap it is. All right. Who else they got who might be a restricted free agent? Joshua Bledsoe. All right. So those are two guys, if they make the team, they're probably going to get RFA tenants. That's $6 million off the cap. And let's say Kendrick Bourne has a let's not know that Kendrick Bourne. Let's say I'm trying to think who's got a good deal. Antonio Gibson. If he hits it in second, okay, his cap number, Patriots will lose cap space because all of some of his incentives are not likely to be earned, and then his 2025 cap number will go up. Now, let's say that Kendrick Bourne surprises us all, and he's playing week 1, and he plays and he earns all of his incentives. The Patriots lose $5.5 million off this 2025 cap space number because all $5.5 million of his incentives are not likely to be earned, and NLTBE. And it would increase his 2025 cap number by $4 million because that's how much he has in cap incentives next year. So that's a $9.5 million swing in cap space by one player earning incentives. So I'm saying this now because I knew you were going to ask about 2025, right?
Sure.
And I say they're going to have a lot of cap space, but I'm just saying that's before I count for everything, before I count on incentives. So if you've been following me on Twitter for years now, you'll see me doing on week 1, right after the game, I'll start doing my 2025 projected cap number now and try to project how the players are doing with incentives. All right. Because that's the biggest number. That's the biggest effect on their 2025 adjusted cap number is injuries and incentives. All right, because I can't predict that right now. I'm like, none of us can. And and I don't know who can.
Yeah. Hey, if you can't do it, I'm
I
sure
don't
anybody
know.
can.
I don't know who people will like patting themselves on the back. Oh yeah, I predicted the Patriots to go 4-13 last year. Like, well, how did you know that Matthew Judon and Christian Gonzalez are gonna get hurt? How did you know that? Like literally, I'm like, one of the reasons you got right, that particular got right, because two of the best players on defense got hurt.
Right. And it's high praise for Gonzalez, who's only played 4 games. I would say he's probably in the top 3 best players on the team. If he stays healthy, like he's gonna be one of the best players in your entire team. Same for obviously Judon and Wenyu, Barmore. You pick your poison, but Steve, you have any questions about the cap before we switch gears?
Yeah, can we talk about Drake May's deal a little bit?
Oh yeah. I love it. I mean, I was surprised they signed the deal in the month of May, in the month of July.
Why is that?
Because of recent history. Recently, when a quarterback has been drafted in the top 10, all but in the last 5 years, all but one, and I forget the guy's name, has been signed in the month of July. Even though, Derek, the deals are pretty much slotted.
Mm-hmm.
Like I already knew how much he was going to get for a signing bonus. I knew what his 2024 cap number was. I know his cap numbers for the future years, 25, 26, 27. All right. I knew that. I also know that in recent history that if you're drafted near the top, or like he was, that you're going to get the entire signing bonus in one lump sum. All right. Sometimes, like for example, Nico Collins just got a deal from the Texans the other day. He's getting $17 million signing bonus, but it's in 3 different payments. All right, but it counts all. But they'll prorate the cap the same way. But Drake May should get a $23 million signing bonus and get it in one lump sum. All right, it doesn't really.
How much wiggle room do the players and the team have in terms of? I know it's slotted, but do you know how much wiggle room they have in terms of how they can allocate certain things?
It depends. You can wiggle room on the signing bonus when you get paid the signing bonus. All right, how much? If a player wants to take less, they could do so. Why would they do so? All right. Sure. Okay. So there's a limit. There's a maximum that they can get, and always presume that the players are going to get the max because they have the wiggle room. And I'm doing this with my fingers. Hold on, let me do it. Is this much? It's really that small. All right. All right. So there's no reason for the player, and maybe one player that I can recall since 2011 has taken less on his slot, and it wasn't even a first round pick. And I wish I could remember the player's name. I think it was one player who got less of a slot. I'll have to ask my fellow cap geeks who that player was. The name is all right, because I'm pretty sure there was just one guy since 2011. So they always max out this slot. All right, but you can negotiate when you get the signing bonus. Okay, you can negotiate if you get a roster bonus instead of a salary. So Drake May, he's going to get paid in 2025. He's going to get a large signing bonus, all right, and the third day of the training camp. Then he's going to get the regular salary, the minimum salary for a player with 1 year of credited season, all right. You can negotiate if you get hurt, all right. The first year, for the first people drafted in the first and second round, their salaries are fully guaranteed. It doesn't matter if they go in IR; they're getting paid the same. But if you're in the 7th round, 6th round, and 5th round, right? If you go on IR, your salary drops like a couple $100,000, and that's something you can negotiate with. Like it'd be better to be on the Chiefs, be drafted by the Chiefs in that regard because they're pretty generous about if you're on get on IR or not. If you're drafted in the low rounds on the Patriots, oh my gosh, it costs you money. Like if you go on IR and you spend the entire season, the rookie season on IR, it costs you money this year. Does it cost you money next year? Right, because you have next year's salary, you're going to get paid like a rookie for 2025 instead of getting a one credited season. So you lose putting on someone in IR this year is going to cost a rookie close to $500,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's more money if the team makes the playoffs. They'll lose out even more money if their team makes the playoffs
Because they get the bonus game checks.
If you're on IR and you're a rookie, you don't get as much as a regular player. If your team makes it to the Super Bowl, you get less of a cut of the player. I mean, the players get kind of screwed in their playoff money. I mean, they raise the prices for the fans, but your salary goes down for the players.
Yeah. I had a friend who he's not in the league anymore, but I had a friend who told me something similar, which is probably an off-air conversation, but I'll leave him nameless. But he said something very similar to that when we talked. We were at a wedding together last year, and he played 6 years for 3 different teams, kind of bounced around. He had a funny comment about it. So, well, different conversation, different time.
It's how the owners got away with that one is incredible. It's like, whatever. It's
Steve, any other cap stuff, or do you want to switch over to the draft?
Just one more cap question, Miguel. The not likely to be earned or likely to be earned, are those counted against the cap?
Not likely to be earned doesn't count against the cap. Okay, but if you do earn it, it debits your adjusted cap. It subtracts from your adjusted cap number for the following year.
But
the likely to be earned, but the likely to be earned incentives needs to be factored in, and that's based on like statistics, like stats.
Okay,
right?
So what makes an incentive not likely to be earned versus likely to be earned is what happened the previous year.
Okay.
If I could just bring up a player I know who just had an incentive that just misses the cutoff. All right. Who was it? Okay. Mark KJ Osborne. If he has 550 receiving yards, right, he gets a $300,000 bonus. He didn't have that. I think he had 502 last year. All right, I'm doing off the top of my head. I think it was just, what I'm saying. But if the incentive was for 500 yards, it would have been likely to be earned. Okay.
Sure.
Like Kendrick Bourne was just like his low number for receptions is 40. I think he had 38 off the top of my head.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Patriots are pretty, and all teams do this, just make it not likely to be earned by just a couple of things, like either a couple of receptions or receiving yards or everything. Like Josh Hughes and, oh my gosh, like Josh Uche and Anthony Jennings have sacks in their incentives. I'm like, goodness gracious. All right.
Well, thanks for breaking that down for us. Yeah.
Yeah. It always cracked me up. Who was the guy? Shea McClellan. Okay.
Yeah, from Boise State, I want to say, Steve.
A $500,000 Pro Bowl incentive in this deal once for the Patriots. I'm like, why? Why? Really? I'm like, yeah, like no chance of getting that. All right, on this team. All right. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Let's move on.
No, it's all good. Hey, we appreciate the background on it. It's good for us and for.
But do you remember the best play he ever made, Miguel?
Oh goodness gracious!
I'm not sure I even do. Now you have me second guessing myself.
He pulled a Jamie Collins and he leaped over the line and blocked a field goal.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I do remember that actually. That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
He was actually a pretty good player. He had too many concussions.
Yeah, it was an injury thing with him, right?
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh, the injuries is just such. I tell my friends, NFL is not a contact sport; it's a collision sport because those guys are huge, running into each other, and they pound the heck out of each other.
And it doesn't. If you spend time at training camp or if you're fortunate enough to be close enough to the field during games and you see how fast these guys are moving, the TV like minimizes it, a little
Doesn't
bit.
do it justice at all.
It's the same thing with hockey. It's the same thing with hockey. Like you go to a hockey game and if you get to go to a Bruins game, and you see how fast these guys are moving on skates, you're like, holy crap! It's the same thing with football. With and the contact noise, they have those big microphones to pick up all the noise, and it doesn't do it justice. It doesn't do it justice by any of it. But anyway,
it is crazy how fast these guys fly, and because these guys are 200 to 300 pounds, and they just move, and
they're getting bigger and faster. It's not. I mean, people say that all the time, but it's true. I mean, you look at someone like, man, who's a good example?
Jim Brown.
Yeah, well, you go. Yeah, I was thinking like a modern day player. Like I'll go to the draft. I'll go to like Aquarius Mims. The tackle out of Georgia. Like they just keep getting bigger now. And now if you're watching, if you're watching the draft or you're looking at the combine or anything, like it used 4.5 used to be like, okay, yeah, you're not blazing fast, but you're fine. Now 4.5 will basically blackball you. You better be moving 4.3, 4.4 or it's over. It's pretty crazy, how that's happened. But we digress. Let's take a quick break here for podcast purposes, and then we get back. We're gonna get Miguel's thoughts on the draft and a couple other random things. We'll be right back. All right, we're back here on Patriots 4th and 2. Derek Havens, Steve Balestrieri. So happy to have Miguel Benzan on with us today. I want to thank everyone for listening.
My friend.
Yeah, yes. It has been too long. I want to thank everyone who's listening live. For those who are downloading it, we're recording it May 29th at right around 6 p.m. Eastern time. Yep. Please subscribe to us on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Like, share, leave us a review. It keeps us high in the podcast rankings so other Patriots fans can find us. So, Miguel, no more cap talk, okay? We've had I hated math in school, and you're just giving me an ice cream headache, okay? So I want to get your take on the draft. First of all, we didn't get to talk pre-draft. Were you happy with the Drake May selection, or were you hoping for somebody else?
No, I was happy. I expected it all the time. Like, okay. I don't. How to put this nicely? I
told you don't have to put anything nicely. You can just say it how you want to say it.
Another position other than quarterback at number 3. You just telling me you're not qualified to be running an NFL office. I mean, literally, a quarterback at number 3 had to be the choice, and no matter which one it was, because the value of hitting on that player is so great. Drake May's deal over 4 years could average around a little bit over $9 million. Right now, the top of the market of the QB market is $50 to $55 million. So that's over an 80% discount off the top quarterbacks. Now, even let's just say he plays at an average level. All right. That the average quarterback would be like 16, 17 guys probably making around $30 to $35 million, maybe 20. All right. That's still a 60 to 70% discount. All right. You don't get that bargain that value in any other position. All right. Because the quarterback market has just gone sky high. All right. So maybe since the second half, I guess ever since Mac Jones threw that interception in Germany, I knew they were.
I guess the Colts, yep.
Yeah, again, I knew they were Patriots were picking a quarterback at number 1 with their first draft pick. All right.
Yep. All right. I mean, I was pretty convinced of that early on. I was telling Steve and I joke about it all the time, and I know you listen.
Yeah, we were talking offline back in late October.
Yeah, it was early.
And we were both saying quarterback has to be their first pick next year.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, we were both saying, who do you like? And I kept going back, Derek, to I like the kid from North Carolina. So
Yeah.
I was hoping for him all along, which is always jinxing yourself, right? Because it's like you want this guy, and then they don't take him. But
well, I joke all the time that if the Patriots, if we look back in hindsight 2020 and the Patriots had a bad draft and they made some bad moves this offseason, everyone can just blame me. Because I love everything that they're doing right now. I love them retaining their players. I think the contracts have been good on balance.
Yes.
I thought they had a strong draft, which will shift gears from Drake May. Other than that, I like a lot of the things that they've done. I like some of the coaching hires, and some conversations I've had with different media members and stuff. It seems like, there's been a big shift at Gillette Stadium about how things were going, and it really doesn't necessarily need to be like a personal shot at Bill. It's just like they needed to make changes, and they're finally kind of making changes. So again, everyone who's listening, if they suck in 2 years still, then you can just blame me. I was dead wrong, but I'm very happy with what they've done so far.
It's you're moving on from Bill. You had to make some changes. You just can't move on from Bill and then keep what he did. That didn't make any sense. That wouldn't make any sense. So of course there's going to be changes. I love the Drake May pick. All right, so I don't follow the draft. I listen to you guys. All right, mostly. All right, and Michael Kuiper and Field Yates and the other things. All right. The thing that surprised me the most is them picking two guys in the offensive lineman. All right. Yep. And I was shocked they only picked one guy on the defense. As I knew
that's when it hit home, Bill was gone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But hey, can I ask you though? I don't want to cut you off, but like, why were you shocked by that? It's not a trick question. I'm just honestly curious.
Because a draft is not just for this year, but for next year, for the future years.
Sure.
All right. You can't. So they have a lot of guys on the defense who are playing. This 2024 is their last year in the deal. All right.
Yeah.
So you got Wise, you got Judon. I'm not gonna name all the names because we could be here all night. All right, because it's over. All right. So I was surprised it was just one guy. All right. And it wasn't just. It was more about the future, 2025, 26, 27, than it was about 2024. Because I knew in 2024 they had retained most of the team of the defense, and they were getting back Christian Gonzalez, Matthew Judon, and Marcus Jones. All right, those are three defenders who missed a great deal of the 2024 seasons. So I wasn't expecting them to draft a defender high in the draft, but I thought in a fourth, fifth, they would do it. And I was, and honestly, I thought they would double dip at a position. I didn't think they'd double dip at two positions. All right. Right. By that, honestly, I thought I am. Well, I don't know if you could say they double dip at two positions, but if you could send the offensive line at one position, you could do that because I don't think those guys played the same position. All right, Wallace and Robinson. Other than that, I'm saying it's. I mean, it was. But I'm saying they don't own they didn't draft the guys who were drafted in 2022. They didn't draft the guys in 2023, so they don't own anything. All right, so
I thought it was just a total shift. I think they just looked at it and said, "Hey, look, say what you want about Bill. We can have that conversation about what he thought about the offense or whatever. We can throw that to the side. I don't want to dive into that too much, but the new regime clearly knew that they were like, look, this thing is broken. It's been broken for a little while now. We need to throw all our assets into, making some kind of correction, which is why the coaching staff changed, which is why, they spent all these picks on offense because I feel like they knew, hey, this thing's not working. I'm frankly still surprised Bailey Zappi's on the team. I've said this on previous shows, and it has nothing really to do against him. I just know, just from talking to some of the media guys that we've interviewed the last couple of weeks and from a different conversation that I had not too long ago with a player who was in the room, it was so dysfunctional. It was really dividing the locker room quite a bit between offense and defense. It was getting contentious, So it's like, I know Gerard is new to this, but he also was he also was in the room. I'm sure
Yeah.
it was worse than what we even hear about it. So, I get that.
I share your surprise. I am surprised he's still on the team, but I thought for sure I would not have. I thought he would have been traded during the draft.
I think he might get traded during the preseason, to be honest. But
he better. I mean, oh my gosh. So when you go to a game and you hear people cheering for Zappy, all right, and they're at the game,
mm-hmm.
and I'm saying, you guys are really saying that out loud? I've had 8 surgeries on my eyes in the last several years. You guys are doing that? Are you really seeing with your own eyes when I'm seeing the same thing? I'm like,
right.
Gracious. I'm like,
I never really had any Zappy fever. I will say that Chicago game.
I mean, no offense to the guy. I don't understand it at all. I mean, you can't. Oh, I didn't get it at all.
It was that game against Chicago where they got blown out. I think that was Monday night. It was a primetime game for sure, but it was the game against Chicago where he came in and literally threw a touchdown pass like almost right away. I literally was like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. And the rest of it has proven that it's not. I mean, it's like I said, it's nothing against him. He's just not a starting quarterback. And I thought they would simply move him just to kind of totally overturn that room. You know, and
I don't know where, and I'm trying to think like now, unless somebody of the number 2 and number 3 gets
there'll be
hurt,
an injury somewhere. Yeah,
he's got to be hoping for an injury. And like literally, I'm like a funny thing with Drake May, he bumped off a player with a salary of $985,000 off the top 51 list. I happen to chose. I don't know officially who they did. All right, I just chose Belly Zappy.
Why? Could you explain to me? And I honestly don't know this question, and maybe you already have explained it, and I'm just forgetting. Why is it top the 51 when it's a 53 or 55 player roster?
I've looked into it. No one knows. I think it's because the cap was so low in the beginning.
Oh,
to help them cover the expense, to have the cushion to do it. That's why they did it. Other than that, it doesn't make sense now. Especially, I mean, what the average team now has $17 million in cap space. Doesn't make sense to have the next CBA. They should just get rid of it. Just have the 50.
Well, the next thing that's coming is they're going to expand it to 18 games. They're going to cut a preseason game. They're going to add a second bye week, and they're going to add probably 5 or 6 roster spots because they're going to need bigger rosters if they're going to play more games, and that's what they're going to ultimately try to do.
Okay, so I cannot see the owners agreeing to pay because by the time the next CBA comes around, the minimum salary for a rookie is going to be over $1 million.
Wow!
So you're going to tell these owners, we want 5 more roster spots, so that's $5 more $1 million coming out of your pockets. Good luck with that. I don't see that happening. I mean,
when they see the next TV deal, they'll probably change their tunes if they want to expand a game, because one more game means more concessions, more parking, more chances to sell out things at the gift shop. That's where it's going to go.
Now if you go with the Patriots now, so I don't know what you're talking about. You get this free. I was like, wow. If you talk this lost, it's free now. I was like, yes.
So aside, go ahead.
It was it's been quite a few years now. I went to the game in Dallas when Brady was still there. To park at Dallas was $300.
That's crazy.
And it varies by the opponent, because the Cowboys don't sell tickets at the gate like when you go to Gillette, they have the guys there and you pay them as you come in. Yeah. They sell the tickets to parking companies. And so you have to have a ticket in hand to get in. Then you just hand them the ticket. And depending on who the opponent is how much the parking will run. Like when the Patriots are there, of course they were on top, so it cost $300 to park.
I think when I was at Gillette last, there's that Ford dealership on the other side of Route 1, and I've parked there a few times.
Rodman Ford.
Yeah. And I think I paid like 60 or $80. I don't know. I threw the guy an extra 10 or $20 last time so I could have a really close spot to the exit. But when I went to the Patriots Cardinals game when they played last in Arizona, I think it was in the $30 or $40 range to pay. It was totally different.
It cracked me up because some of my fans are New England Revolution fans, right?
Sure.
Right. You go to a Revolution game, it's $5 for parking. Go next day, you go to a Patriots game, it's $50. It was $50, right? But now it's free. All right, I'm like, oh goodness, it's the law of supply and demand.
Yeah, no, it is. So let's
$300. I'm shocked.
That is crazy.
When they had the Super Bowl in Dallas.
Yep.
$1,000 to park your car.
Good.
That's crazy. That is insane. Back to the draft. Back to the draft, Miguel. Aside from Drake May, who you've shared your thoughts on, give me your favorite and your least favorite draft pick.
Favorite, Javon Baker. Least favorite, Robinson. I didn't see the need. I would have. I wish I remembered the draft board, but I think I had other players. I had like 4 or 5 guys, maybe 2 or 3 guys I probably picked over them. And I know very little over the draft. I was shocked that they picked an offensive.
So my working theory, and I don't know if you've heard this on previous shows. My working theory with Robinson is that I feel like it's indicative of some way the new regime feels about a certain player on the interior. I don't know if that's true or not, but it doesn't make any sense to me either. I threw up my hands when I saw that guy was like another interior offensive lineman. Like how many of these guys do they need? Like just figure it out. I think they feel a certain way about maybe it's the scheme or whatever they're going to do. That's just my kind of working thing. Yeah. Why was Javon Baker your why was that your favorite pick?
Just when he said the popcorn thing, I thought that was just funny. All right, and I'm gonna make people, like, all right,
wheelchair stand up.
I'm going to bring some if I get the chance to go to training camp, I am bringing popcorn. I'm bringing a sign. I never bring signs, but I'm bringing a popcorn.
I think Stacey James is going to have his handful with Javon Baker. But
I think so too.
I'm gonna if I make it up there for training camp next year, I'm bringing a wheelchair.
It's just funny. I mean, just have fun.
And then when he catches the ball, we'll stand up and wave.
Yeah, exactly. It's like just have some. These have to have some fun at the game. It's because it literally. The other reason is like picked another wide receiver, and I'm like, man, they are really gonna turn over that room. They might get rid of Juju. Have to get rid of Devontae. I'm like, wow. Do
you know off the top of your head how much money that's going to cost them to stomach the Juju thing if they want to get rid of him?
I thought it was 3.2.
No, because it's going to change on June 1st. Hold on a minute.
Is it cheaper or more expensive before?
It's going to be way cheaper because his 2025 signing bonus proration will stay on a 2025 cap no matter what. All right. I just had this from. Hold on. I have it. So because we only have the Patriots have tomorrow and Friday to have his 2025 signing bonus proration hit the cap this year. All right, because June 1st is on a Saturday, right? Yeah, it's Saturday. All right. So let's say they traded him to someone after June 1st. Their dead money would just be $5.3 million, and they'd gain like close to $4.1 million in cap space. All right. If they still had, if they were to cut him, they would have to eat the $7 million. His salary is fully guaranteed, but they could hope that somebody signs him, and they would get a credit for whatever salary he gets.
Right.
From that team. So it's going to be interesting to see if he gets traded because it would create cap space. Not that they don't need it, but it would create cap space. All right. We'll see what happens.
Steve, go ahead. Here you go.
That's like one reason I'm like thinking it gives them by drafting 2 rookie wide receivers this year, and you got Demarius Douglas from last year. You have all this cap space. They have a lot of flexibility to eat the dead money if they wanted to, and that's a benefit of having that much cap space.
Sure.
Yeah.
Steve, do you got any other questions before we go to the 3 randoms and wrap up?
Go right ahead.
All right. Let's go, Miguel. All right. I know you liked this part of the other interview, so I told you I was going to do it for you. All right. I was trying to think. I was going to throw you a curveball. Because I do like to do that. I like to keep people on their toes, right? But I'm gonna ask you the same questions that I asked the last couple of people, just because I am curious. All right, favorite pizza topping? What do we got?
Pepperoni.
Mm-hmm. Nice. All right, Miguel, you walk into a bar with a couple of buddies. What's your drink of choice?
Jack and Coke.
Jack and Coke. Okay, that's Steve. Steve says no Coke. Just throw me 2 cubes and I'll be fine.
Okay. Okay. All right. That may be later in the evening, or if you guys who listen to you tell me the cap is crap, then I'll probably just do. Okay, then I'll pick up the ice.
All right. Favorite vacation spot?
Oh, it's gonna probably be Alaska right now.
Oh wow,
that's unique.
Yeah, I went on a cruise last year to it.
I've never heard a single person who's gone to a cruise on Alaska say they had a bad time. Everybody says all the time. Anyone I talk to was like, "Oh, it was the best thing we've ever done. It was crazy." So that's funny you say that.
I liked it so much. I have told my wife, if she was to pass away before me, I'd probably retire there. Just
really?
Because I'm you can guess I'm an extrovert. All right, so I definitely would be able to find a job in the hospitality industry, a part-time job in the hospitality industry. I like to take walks. All right, so I could go all those national parks. I love to take pictures. So I'd be like, hey, let me try to find. I was like, we driving on the bus to the hotel, and we saw 2 bald eagles on a street light. I'm like, what?
That's cool.
I was like, what? That's awesome. And I'm saying, and it was. I had just a great time up there, and people were, and you just learning about things, and it's still. I just love it. We're not gonna. My next cruise is not gonna be there. It'll probably be like the 5th cruise from now. We're probably definitely gonna go. Wife and I definitely gonna go back on another cruise. Well, we're gonna go some other cruises first, but I definitely gonna go back. And they're like, I love to go in there. Yeah.
All right. Well, you're giving me a good sales pitch, so I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you 2 more random questions. I'm gonna throw. I want to call an audible, but they're gonna be Patriots related. Okay. So, give me, what are you looking forward to the most this upcoming season?
How well the young players play, because that determines the future.
Yep, I'm with you.
Okay,
and then what position would you be most what position are you most concerned about?
It's the offensive line easily. All right. I need to. Okay.
So Mike Reese just tweeted out that Okorafor and it was Verdarian Lowe, Caden Wallace, and Okorafor that were rotating at left tackle today. Okay, which is expected.
Hey, I think you're right. Anybody who's listening to me now and listening to the show now knows that you've been saying that the first pick next year is going to be a left tackle. Right? Right? And like, it makes so much sense. But I would love to see. We're talking about you got Owano on the right tackle. I like to know and we don't know David Inch was assigned for one year, but that doesn't mean he's going to get played from the 2025 because he can just get a $4 million walking away gift. All right. So you need to have. Other than that, you got 4 positions that are not really locked down for the future. I don't know if that's a line. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know we got City So and we got Mafia, who played a lot last year. All right. So maybe you get pencil them in too, but that's where I want to see. And if Polk and or Baker pop, like Pop Douglas popped last year, you're in pretty good shape. I mean, to get on the offense, and then you re-sign a couple of guys on defense, you're in good shape going forward.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. I mean, I'd like to see the defense get a name. Like, hey, we're better than the offense, but we're up there. We're a great elite defense. People saying about the Jets. I'm like, come on. The Jets they got a better defense than the Patriots. Come on. All right, whatever. Let's see it.
The only way in my mind, this is just my opinion, and I'm only even bringing this up just because you kind of brought up what I've said on previous shows. The only way in my mind they don't take a left tackle next season is if Caden Walls comes out of nowhere and can develop into actually something.
Yeah.
And if they do that, then I would probably guess pass rusher. If I had to guess, somebody in the front seven, especially where Elliott Wolf comes from, coming out of Green Bay. If you look at what the Packers traditionally did, and they pretty much followed it up this year, in the first round, it's either quarterback, offensive line, or somebody on defense. They target skill positions in the second and third rounds, and then usually on the back end, they usually double up on offensive linemen and defensive linemen, and they usually take a quarterback, if not every year, every other year. Those are the patterns that they've pretty much come from. It'll be curious to see. What?
No, I just realized they double dip at three positions. They double the quarterback, wide receiver, and offensive line. Goodness.
Well, offensive line was. Oh yeah, I guess they did do offensive line, right? So it was Robinson and Wallace, and then okay.
Because you said quarterback, I'm like, all right, they retired. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it's easy to forget that sometimes. Miguel, anything you want to plug before you head out?
Just folks, just if you see my pinned tweet on Twitter. This is how you can donate. I did say this on Mike's show, so I'll say it again.
Please.
If you happen to believe that the Patriots are cheap and willing to put some money on it, I'm willing to bet $500 this year. And you won't have to pay me. Just give the money to Habitat for Humanity. I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. All right. So I know I got some followers who like to say the Patriots are cheap. And I'm not going to call them out because I don't know if they could make that bet, but I'm willing to bet $500.
Yeah, no,
because we have the media talking about the cap spending. All right, you notice as soon as they started extending Christian Barmore, Kyle Duggar, now Andrews, and now signed Drake May. Right, we get misleading articles about the cash, where we have someone say the Patriots still have $50 million in cap space, and Elliott Wood pushed against the Mariners that they didn't spend. Where if you look by any barometer of cash spending for this year, the Patriots at worst were 8th. You're talking first year cash. We're talking total cash. You're talking API. You're talking full guarantee, total guarantees. Their worst ranking was 8th. But the media, this Boston media, who wants to be so negative about the Patriots, who've won 6 championships. Right, and gave them so much. Some of these guys wouldn't be where they were if they weren't reporting on a great team, right? And they want to be so negative about them. Shame on them. Sorry.
I got to end it on that. That was good. I appreciate that. Well, Miguel, you're the best, man. Seriously, there's a reason why you're the gold standard in the cap stuff. Steve and I don't want to speak for Steve necessarily, but I will this time. We appreciate the lecture and the updates on the cap stuff, and all your charity work and just everything about you, man. You're just the best. So we so much appreciate you coming on today, and we're looking forward to getting you on maybe later in the off season.
Oh, thank you so much. I love listening to you guys, Steve. When Derek pulls a goal, when you just gotta just hammer on it. Okay.
I never used to do it as often,
Yeah,
and
I
then
know,
Russ
I
and then
know,
Russ
you must be
and
getting-
then Russ took his time off the show and
Yeah.
let me run things, and I realized, oh, it's a little freaking harder than I thought. And now I do want a show, so it's a Goldman, but hey, it's what it is. Now it's a Havens.
I
That's
know.
what it is.
I am dying. I told this to Derek the other day on the phone. I'm like, when you were doing it, I'm just laughing and laughing. I'm like, because I'm thinking he's doing Goldman's. He's doing Goldman's. And my mother-in-law is hearing me laughing because we're all doing Emeren's yard work outside. And she's, what's going on? I'm just listening to a couple of friends, and one's just.
I can't help myself. I
was-
constantly do it.
I was just see Derek. I was dying laughing because I'm just thinking, I wish I could see him because I wish I could go on the computer right now and say, "You're doing a Goldman. You're doing a Goldman."
That's all right. That's all right. Steve calls me out on it, and you can always DM me later and let me know.
Yeah,
So
I'm just gonna quote the tweet and just
Oh,
say
perfect.
that.
Perfect. Yeah, that's all I need.
Yeah.
Well,
You saved me from one, Miguel, because we started when you mentioned Marcus Jones coming back this year. I almost said Cyrus.
there's a blast from the past. Jesus.
Oh my gosh. What? Oh my gosh. He was a second round pick.
Yeah, he was the first pick.
Oh.
They didn't have a first round pick that year.
Oh,
That was their first pick
no.
of the draft. I want to say it was 41, 47. I think it was one of those.
Ooh.
And that's
Yeah.
one of my biggest. That's for sure one of my biggest. And I'm not Field Yates. I'm not Mel
Yeah.
Kiper, but like we do spend a lot of time in this. That's got to be up there with one of my biggest misses of all time. I thought for sure he was going to be a good nickel corner.
Yeah.
He was a great returner, best returner in college, that year, and it just did not
work out. And he didn't even last the league that long.
No.
Like literally,
No.
usually if you drafted in the first, second round, you get because of your pedigree, because most every team in the league has done some work on you. All
Yeah.
right. You stick around. Like it helps to be drafted that high. He didn't stick around that long.
When Andy Hart was still on what was then Patriots Football Weekly, now Patriots Unfiltered, the team podcast, when he was still on there, I remember him and Paul talking about it from literally one of his first training camp practices. They were like, this guy is a mess. It just got way worse after that.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway,
sorry, we're gonna go, but it is funny how you hear these stories. It doesn't take long to know if a rookie can play.
yeah, no, it is tough. But hey, man, thank us again for so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I want to thank everyone who listened in live, who's going to download later. Again, subscribe to us on YouTube and Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Like, share, leave us a review. It keeps us high in the podcast rankings so other Patriots fans can find us. I want to direct everyone to PatsFans.com for some great content over there, hosted by Ian Logue. And hopefully, Miguel, we will get you on soon, but we will see you all later this week, probably with our next episode of our draft profile. And then we got another interview we're planning for next week. So we will talk to you guys then.
All right. Take care, guys. God